Welcome in, my friends. I have a feeling some of you are going to be very upset with me, and some of you might be pleased. But before we get to that, let's go see who, the players of the season all that were. This is your last chance. If you didn't vote on the last episode in the comments, you can pause the video and vote now. All right, my friends, we got a lot to cover today. A lot. I have a lot of notes to share with you. The first thing we're gonna do is this is right at the end of the season. We're gonna take a look at the player of the season, young player of the season, signing of the season, da 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 da. And then I'm gonna hop us forward, and we're gonna review a bunch of things and play a game today. So buckle up, my friends. Here we go. All right. Overall best 11. I know I just showed you that, but let's just take a look at this one thing at a time, right? Anthony O'Reilly was the pick of 4 players that have joined our best 11, the other being Tommy Tierney, Hugh Douglas, and Adeyinka. Okay? And Tierney and Douglas and O'Reilly as starters, Adeyinka as a backup. But when you look at this, right, like, how many players do we currently still have as of the end of this season, as far as you know? Connor Lang, Clucas, Waters, O'Reilly, O'Neill, McGlade, Powell. We got to get rid of him. Tierney, Vice Captain Jack, Douglas, and then on the bench, Adeyinka, Fox, no longer Cassie, obviously, and Costello, and Gary O'Neill, and Kevin Knight, and Jean-Yves Poem. But this is pretty much, aside from left back, our current team. And I think that's kind of awesome. That this isn't a team with a 600-year history either, right? But I just think that's kind of neat. End of season words, Marty Waters with the fans player of the season. That surprised me a little bit, if I'm being honest with you. Especially if Clucas isn't even in the top 3. What did he do to the fans? We're not going to look at the goal this season. It's never good. Gavin Holohan is our signing of the season on a free, my friends, and then young player of the season, Anthony O'Reilly. So I think it's interesting. Waters, O'Neill, and Holohan. And then, let's just look at the squad, right? Waters did have 16 and 11. So that's, I'm not saying he's not deserving. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that one bit. But Clucas, there for a while, I don't know if he finished the season as the top goal scorer. I probably have it in my notes. 20 goals and 6 assists. Not bad, my friends, but I guess they're valuing the 4 less goals and 5 more assists. I think it should be like 1 and 2, personally. I mean, Holohan with 11 goals and 3 assists. That's not bad from that box-to-box midfield or deep-lying playmaker spot, depending on where they're at. And then Zach O'Neill was 6 and 8, which is that's what's kind of confusing to me. I mean, I know it's Zach O'Neill. I love you, Zach. You're one of our own. But I'm just saying, McGlade had more assists. Why not McGlade? I mean, his rating wasn't as good, but I just think I just think it's fascinating, my friends. And then our season review, we finished 3rd, as you're well aware. We lost in the Cup quarterfinal versus Dundalk, kind of expected. We won the EA Sports Cup, which is a nice thing. We got knocked out of the Senior Cup. I can't remember even who by. Why wouldn't you just show that to me there? We beat Home Farm and UCD's LSL side, and then UCD, and then we lost. Wait, what? I don't think that's right. We made it to I thought I was like, we made it to the final. Oh, that's my kid screaming. Lovely stuff. So that's curious that it says that's our season wrap up, but I mean, started off really well, then dipped quite a bit, but we were able to kind of stabilize, stayed in 5th for a long time, dipped there at the end of 6th, came back, and then, man, those last couple games, kind of incredible. The results going our way. But, oh man, I have oh, I'm so nervous about the comments. Well, I'm going to hop us forward. Here we go. All right, my friends. So I just want to read a comment before we get into this. I just want to read a comment. because there have been towards, episodes 38, 39, and 40 towards the end of the season, I had a lot of people in the comments, which was great. Thank you for commenting. It's great to get some interaction that way, talking about the finances of the club, right? Because we were kind of going in the wrong direction. And just another betrayed Brit, I'm looking at my other monitor if you can't tell, says, I think you should be careful with the finances, but not overly careful. Most clubs at this level have debts, and the board will put money in, most likely, or sell to someone else who clears the debts. I'd spend a bit more or look to go to one of the bigger teams in the division where you have the setup to really create a European force. Can't see that happening here without you taking some financial risks. So, and that's a great comment, right? Like, it's a great, I'm sorry, I get choked up. We will get to that. We will get to that. So, I just wanted to show us the trajectory of the club. Look where we started. 8th place, first year in the first division. 7th place, 6th place. Solid progress, right? Gray Hair Gaming comes in. We come 3rd. Then we get promoted at the second time of asking to 2nd. We scrape by and finish in 8th. And then last season, we jump to 3rd, my friends, because a bunch of games went our way on the last day of the season. And we are in the Europa League. We have, at one point, in the middle of the transfer window, we were 1-star reputation. I actually want to take a look at that here in a second, because I was going, like, at one point, we were 1-star national reputation, and they're the only teams that weren't ahead of us in Ireland were 3 first division teams. Yes, my friends, that means there were 7 first division teams with a higher reputation than us in like December. And obviously maybe it's changed a little bit, so I'm kind of curious about that, but I don't want to click off this screen just yet. You'll notice Gavin Wilkinson, new face. You got it named down here, Harvey Gilmore, new face. We're going to talk about it. Vice Captain Jack, apparently still here. We still have our sponsors here. Again, thank you to Lupus from the Discord jumping in and providing me those awesome kits. We don't get to look at them enough, so I thought I'd just take a little gander, if you will. Let's look at the facilities. Yep, still fairly basic youth recruitment and average junior coaching, basic youth, no data analysis, basic training, basic corporate. Poor pitch condition. We get asked about that 2 or 3 times a season. It's great. I did ask for junior coaching because, again, I'm thinking that's got to be the cheapest thing. You don't even have to go recruit people. Like, once they get here, let's just coach them, right? The youth, like the really youth teams, right? The U13s and such. And they're like, based on the financial blah blah of the club. And I'm like, you're giving me like what was it? Our wage budget went up to $15,360, and they gave us $35,000 in transfer budget. I'm like, can I give some of that back? Like, surely that would pay for some junior coaching, right? Like, if I take 1,000 off the top of the wage budget, that's $52,000 a year, right? Like 52 weeks, 1,000 a week, right? But I think we could hire a coach. Maybe it wouldn't make an impact. Maybe you'd have to hire 4. I don't know. But I was just like, man. And so that kind of determined my reaction and my willingness to go spend some money. Because at the end of the day, we've had some good prospects come in. Our head of youth development's doing a good job. But we're not going to be bringing in like studs, and we don't have the training facilities to turn them into studs. So it's essentially kind of a crapshoot, right? Like, get them into the first team and see if they could do something, and if they don't, and get rid of them. And so for a team that's trying to stay in those continental competition spots and make a run in the Europa League, like if we can make it to the group stage by some miracle, or at least like to the second phase of like win the first set of games that we've got and get to the second phase, I think the money will be worth it. But we have to get there. And so they're not willing to spend money on anything. Facilities, coaching, recruitment, nothing. But they're willing to give me wage budget and transfer budget, and we'd whittled down the wage budget. Do you see where I'm going with this? We have a lot of room, right? I think we were at like $6,000 or so, maybe 6,500. No, it might have been a little bit more of that. Maybe it was $7,000 or $8,000. I don't think it was, but let's just call it $8,000 at the end of last season. They've essentially doubled that to say, here's another $7,000 you could spend. Well, you can buy a lot of player with that, right? So that was kind of my thinking and my reasoning for this. What is this? The situation that we find ourselves in. So I'm not going to leave it on this screen too much longer, but I want to go through some things before I show you this. Dundalk beat Waterford in the cup final, in the FAI Cup final. So 4th place Sligo also gets to go to the Europa League. And frankly, that's a good thing. Again, this whole save isn't just about Cabinteely. I want to stay with Cabinteely. I'm not looking to leave Cabinteely. We've had some offers to leave. But it's all about building up Ireland. Well, that means we'd rather have 4 clubs in Champions League / Europa League than 3, right? So that's awesome. Dundalk beat Waterford, not unexpected. Sligo gets into the Europa League. Let's see who came in for me. St. Pat's went down to Drogheda United on a 5-1 aggregate score line in the playoffs. Zoinks. Not very good from them. Cork City offered me a job interview. I was rumored to be in the mix for the Dundalk job at like 5-1 odds. Like I was the leading candidate, but they never came to me. Cork City, I had to actually just say flat out, no, like we're not doing that. And they ended up hiring Mick McCarthy, who's now the Republic of Ireland actual national team manager, which I think is interesting. I think he might have coached there in the past. I haven't looked it up. I know he has history in Ireland, obviously. We sold it hasn't updated yet. We've sold 3 more season tickets than last season. This is last season's number, 174. We're expecting to sell, or either we're expecting to sell 177 or last year we sold 171. It was 3 either way. And I'm like, really? We get Europa League, we finish 3rd, and 3 more people pony up the cash. I'm also a little worried because I'm not getting the commercial summary thing in my inbox. Like there's some things where I go like, is this save like broken? Like are there some broken things in this? We've talked about like how the ball deflects sometimes off the goalkeeper and it comes off and flies off into the stands with such force that you're like, that doesn't look correct to me. Just some little things like that where I'm like, gosh, I hope this isn't broken, but we're gonna keep pushing on. I'm kind of stalling. I won head coach of the year. Klukas came in 2nd in the Golden Boot. He had 2 less goals with 18, but 4 more assists at 5. And he was also 3rd in the young player of the season. He got shafted, let's be honest, both in the actual Premier Division awards and with the fan awards for the club. We paid out 21 grand to the team for finishing 3rd, and that dropped us back to 121K in the hole at one point. Okay. I can hear you screaming at your computers. So we've spent some money, my friends. We spent some money. We spent a lot of money for the club of our size. I think they're really good additions, and I want to talk you through the players. So let me just show you. Hold on. It says down here, you can't see, it's my chair's in the way. There it is. It says we spent, oh, I went blurry on you. It says we spent 115 grand. That's not accurate. We spent 127. First off, we got rid of Connor Powell and one of our youth prospects, Clive Mitchell, who's an inverted right winger that just hadn't really developed 6 determination, doesn't really know how to pass, lots of meh. Connor Powell, good riddance. We've loaned out 5 youth prospects, including our only youth prospect goalkeeper. So that's saving us a whopping like 180 euros a week. Let me take you through. I'd shown you Josh Collins. He's pricey. UCD's players are pricey. Yeah. I think he's a good pickup. I thought he was a good pickup when we picked him up. He's got good pace. He can cover. He could do the job. I like him overall. I think he's a great player. His composure needs some work, but he's got great heading, marking, pretty good tackling. But the physical is really good. He's 24, can play for a long time, really. Determination's good enough. Good decisions and concentration. We just got to work on his composure to make sure he doesn't get upset and, like, you know, take someone out. But I really like him as a player. We're paying $500 a week, which is a little much. But you have to think also, right? We got him on a free. He's worth 71 grand. To me, value pickup. Right now, part of that's probably attributed that we're paying him $500 a week. And he's got essentially 2 years left on his contract. But I think he's a good pickup. I went ahead and picked up another center back. He's just so charming looking. Joe Coveney. $300 a week on a free. He comes to us via Barnsley. And then obviously previously Nottingham Forest. And previously he's a Manchester City product. He's not as good, but he's 23. Same determination, good decisions, better composure. Not as pacey, but overall, I was like, I think we're going to play a 3-4-1-2 or 3 at the back at some point. So I wanted more center backs, right? So we can play Douglas in a more natural position. We can use Bernard when we need to on the left back. But I was thinking in my head, we're going to play 3 at the back. 3 at the back. We're going to be Manchester City. We're going to play 3 at the back. And he's got good attributes. And he's got some time to develop. He's a rotation contract. And he's worth 58 grand. Again, I think a good pickup. You're sitting there going like, who's the 97K kid? What are you doing? But, well, that's the last one, of course. Gary Buckley, when you look at him fast, you think that's Gavin Holohan. Because they're wearing a Cork City. I mean, I'll show them to you here in a second. They played at one point together at the same time back in 15 and 16. Houlihan moved on after that. Comes to us via Shelbourne, where he had 24 starts, 5 goals on a 6.95. He's done quite well thus far. 2 starts on a 7.15 at our level. Overall, love him as a pickup. Fairly loyal, natural box-to-box midfielder. He looks very similar in face, kit, and attributes to Gavin. He can also do the ball-winning midfield role, which I kind of like. And if we needed him to, he could just do a central midfielder on defensive. Positioning's not great, but he could do the job. But overall, he's a great addition to our midfield ranks, okay? And he could play up top, just like Gavin could. Gavin's a little more natural at it than he is. So he's kind of I was the midfield version, and Gavin is the attacking midfield version. 500 a week, key player. He's worth 140 grand, my friends. So again, value pickup to me. If somebody came in for him, I might sell him in a heartbeat, but I think that to me goes like, okay, that's good business that we're doing there. Because again, I didn't want us to just like get into the Europa League, and this may still happen, and like get crushed in the first game of the 2-game tie, and then automatically be out of the Europa League. I want to make a run if we can, and I figured we needed to add to our ranks to do that. Then I thought about our left wing. And we have Marty Waters, who's getting up there in age. And then what does the Fox say? And what does the Fox say has not panned out? He's not panned out. And Marty Waters was the fans' player of the season. He is, if you go back here to the club, he's an icon at the club. And so I re-signed him. $275 a week, backup contract. It says he's surplus to requirements. He's going to fall. He's going to Gary O'Neill it this season. But he's got 133 appearances, 55 goals in his career with Cabinteely. And he played above his level last season. To be fair, the season before that, like, this is probably the time to get out. Like, cash out, right? I'm too loyal. It's a flaw. I just couldn't do it. He's been with us since we got here. He came in. He gave us 8 goals, 6 assists. Then again, 18 goals. Powered us through to get promoted. Then played had some injuries. And then last season was magnificent, in my opinion. And I'd like to see if he wants to go on a leadership course, although we can't afford that. But if he could have some staff attributes, if we could keep him around, And he can play on the left wing. He's very versatile. That is kind of important for our team. So we signed Marty. My plan was to get rid of What Does the Fox Say? Because an aging Marty and a meh What Does the Fox Say? To me is not a strong left wing. And so I went looking for a left winger. And we found Harvey Gilmore. St. Albans City, $30K. He's worth 60. Double your money. What I liked about him, mentals, I mean, not very brave. I'm a little concerned we got red arrows here. He just joined the club. But he's got 2 starts, a goal, and 2 assists on an 805 thus far in the league. Free kick taking a 13, corner taking a 13. He's been great. He's had, in the preseason, he had some from the left wing free kicks, curling it around the wall near post. Oh, it was delicious. Can't finish to save his life. So he's definitely more of a supporting option. Decent enough acceleration and pace. He's got the stamina to do the job. Okay determination. But he's an upgrade. Like, he is an upgrade when you think about What Does the Fox Say and Marty Waters. So I give him a first team contract, $525. 15 technique. I think he's a really, really solid pickup. Again, was at St. Albans for a season in the National League South. Prior to that, he's a Sheffield United prospect, I guess. They loaned him out to Tranmere and nothing really doing. But I have belief. And when you look at it, I mean, the next best option is Dylan McGlade, who's our right winger. And then What Does the Fox Say? And so I said, okay, let's get rid of Fox. We'll talk about that. But then I felt like, okay, so now we got really strong center backs. We got a good left back when we need him. We can have Douglas play right back. So we got the back line. We've got really good options in midfield, right? If you include O'Reilly as part of that, with the attacking midfield role, we got O'Reilly still on loan until the end of the season, Gavin Houlihan, Gary Buckley, Zach O'Neill. We let Liam Kerrigan go back on loan because he was kind of okay. Wiltshire more defensively. Fitzgerald, young prospect. Like, we've got a really solid midfield. We got McGlade on the right as that winger, and now we've got Harvey Gilmore / Marty Waters on the left. Really good pickups. And then I thought about our strike force. And Klukas has played above his level, for sure. Connor Lang has played well, for sure. But they're not like studs, like outright studs. And I like some of the youngsters we had, John O'Neill, Pierce Cavanaugh, stuff like that. But I was trying to find somebody that could just slot in and be our best striker. Be somebody we could rely on. And I tell you what, I could not find a single one until Gavin Wilkinson. Now, he doesn't perfectly fit the mold of stud, play every single game. However, he is 20. So he has time to, he's got another at least 3 or 4 years of solid development, and we're going to be giving him game time. And I honestly didn't realize it was going to cost $97K because his contract was coming up with Shelbourne. But for some reason, even though we offered him an end of contract, we owed Shelbourne compensation for it. Probably because he's a Shelbourne youth prospect would be my guess. Let's go take a look. There's the garage. Perfect timing. I'm looking at him as an advanced forward. Great acceleration, pretty good pace, decent everything else for a 20-year-old. Okay, he's capped at the U19 level. He's got 11 dribbling. It was 14 finishing, so that's gone up. 13 first touch, decent passing. It's gone up. Decent enough technique, good determination, decisions, composure, anticipation, everything. And he's left-footed. Everything you could want, I think, in a player. We're paying him, quote, just $450 a week, less than the others, although we paid $97,000 for him. He's worth $125. 2-year deal. Needs to work on his concentration. But this, to me, the fact that we got green arrows is encouraging. That tells me he's got the potential, even with our really crappy training facilities, to continue to improve. And we're going to give him games. He's got 2 goals in 2 games. He played some non-competitive friendlies, obviously 6 starts, 2 goals and assist. I'm not saying he's just going to take over for Klukas and Connor. But I'm saying he might have been worth it. let me know what you think in the comments. Yeah, it's got to be because he was the Shelbourne youth prospect. So that's frustrating because I was like, oh yeah, he's, his contract's out. They're not signing him. Boom, I'm gonna sign him. And then it was like down in the red, where like that, like down on this part of the screen where you can't see it if you're not paying attention. It says Shelbourne will be owed $97,000 in compensation. I was like, oh no. And I could have said no, but really, look at the report. I mean, he's heads and shoulders better than the rest of the strikers we have on the team. Very well suited for Premier League football. Like, he's probably the first player we've had that actually says that. So let me know what you think about Gavin. We gave him a loyalty bonus. He's got a minimum release clause of 300. Like, to sign some of these players, we kind of had to get aggressive with some of the contracts. But if we have to buy him for 97 and sell him for 300, Cabinteely FC is okay with that. So let me know what you think about that in the comments, in the doobly-doo down below. I hear people say that on other YouTube videos, the doobly-doo. So now let's go look at the team that was and the team that will be. All right, my friends. This is not our starting 11. We're playing UCD's Leinster Senior League side. So we're bringing in some / a bunch of kids. But let me show you who we have brought back. Zach O'Neill is back. Up to 300 a week on a 1-year extension. I'm a little worried about Zach. I mean, we've been playing him in the box-to-box midfield role. Dribbling's not his thing. He's got such good stamina. I'm not sure where he fits, and he's on a first-team contract. Maybe we put him in Carolero. Like, he's definitely, it now says he's a backup player, right? Because we've got Gary as our best midfielder. Gavin is our second best. Anthony O'Reilly, who's attacking midfield. Zach is in the mix, right? He's essentially of our midfield. He'd be third option now. And then we got Kieran Wiltshire and Stephen Fitzgerald. So the fans love him. He's in the core group of the squad. He's got potential. I mean, he is just 21. So, he could continue to improve if we can give him enough games. I'm just worried he's not going to get enough games, and our training facilities are quite garbage. Vice Captain Jack is back. He's up to $275 a week on a 2-year extension. I have a soft spot for him. He's been here a while. He's been with us this whole time. He's our captain. He's still best captain material, so he's the captain again this season. I'm not sure. I mean, he's second best, but if Hugh Douglas plays on the right back option, like, these essentially could be our back three, or if we're playing a back four, Collins and Vice Captain Jack are the center back options. I just have a soft spot for him. I couldn't say no. I can't deny Vice Captain Jack the opportunity to captain a squad in the Europa League at least once. We paid out 1.1K for the Cup quarterfinal because, again, we took the low bonus for the squad. McGlade last season had 12 assists. It's a new team record, beating David Cassidy's record. We extended him to $275 a week, down to $275 a week from $425. He wanted a backup contract. Oh, okay, bro. He's worth $70K. Sure. So we extended him for 2 years. I think after 2 years we might have a better option, but who knows? It just depends on if he gets any better or if he continues to fall apart. The other thing with Marty Waters, he had 7 player of the match performances last season as a new team record, beating his own record of 6 from 2018. Hopefully you understand. We extended Connor Lang. Let's see, $250 a week, backup contract, 1-year extension. It says he's surplus to requirements. He's done well, starting us up. I like that it's a backup, so he's not fully expecting to play, but he's all right. He's got good physicals. But he's done okay for us. I mean, last season, again, he had 7 goals and 17 appearances, and 11 of those being starts on a 704. I think he's a great guy to keep around. I did sign Jack Ledwidge as kind of like the understudy to McGlade. I told you he was going to replace Keith Dalton, right? So he's up to $250 a week from $35 because that, welcome to signing youth prospects. But I mean, look at this. He can run for days. run for days. He's got stamina and he recovers fast, and he's got decent enough crossing and dribbling and first touch, decent enough passing, good determination. He's 19. I think he's a good pickup. The problem we ran into, my friends. Oh, where is he? Is he in the first team? Oh, I have to start him today. So Keith Dalton got an automatic 1-year extension for not getting relegated. Dope. And I've listed him. I've transfer listed him. I've had him talk to clubs. I've loan listed him. I've sent him out. Nobody wants him. I've sent him out for $0 and we'll pay $250 a week just to see what would happen. Nope. Nobody wants him. Literally, not a single team wants Keith Dalton. And then we also tried the same thing with Paul Fox, and nobody wants him either. And both of them are like, no, I'm good to stay here. I'll just see my contract out. So there's $500 a week we're never going to get back. We're not going to get any return on our investment there. The good thing is, I didn't want to play McGlade, and then as you see down here, Jack has got a tight thigh, so I was going to start him today, but we're not going to risk him. So at least Dalton can come in and play. But yeah, that's the part. I was like, if we could get 20 grand for each of them, that's 40 grand. Like, that pays for the left winger we signed and like 10 grand down payment on the striker we signed. Didn't happen. John O'Neill turned in his transfer request because I promised I would loan him. And I told him I had him loan listed the entire season. I sent him out. Nobody wanted him. In the conversation, it gave me the option to say, we've had you listed, or say, I'm paraphrasing, but we've had you listed and there hasn't been any interest. That phrase I specifically remember. And he said I was lying and he knew there was interest. And I'm like, what is happening in this simulation game? Nobody was like, it wasn't like it said wanted and somebody wanted him. Nobody wanted him. I could not get a team to take him. And so he's like, I don't appreciate how you've handled this. I'm starting on my transfer request. And I was like, fine, whatever. Thinking at the time he was worth like 40, 45K. Maybe we can get 40K for him. Nobody's wanted him. Nobody. I've tried loaning him. I've tried selling him. Nobody. He says after the transfer window closed, which is why I've already played 2 games, right? I want to get to the transfer window closing. He said he appreciated that I've been trying to sell him, so he's willing to wait until the next transfer window. So I'm hoping we can play him. I mean, his concentration's a 1. I'm hoping we can play him and he'll calm down, but he's here. That's fun. I'm not thrilled. Where is he? With Kieran Wiltshire. I felt like he'd done a good enough job, midfielder. Like if Zach O'Neill's not the most defensive player. So if Gavin or the other new guy that looks like Gavin, whose name I've already forgotten, goes down with injury, I need somebody that can tackle in midfield, and Kieran can do that. So he's a decent enough option, $300 a week, but he wanted a 40% sell-on fee. Here's the bad news, Kieran. Nobody buys from our club, so it doesn't really matter. We've also re-signed Stephen Fitzgerald for another year, just to see if I'm thinking if we can make a run, and we'll get bumped out in the first knockout round or first qualifying phase or whatever, the Europa League, but we're going to need to rotate. And so that's why I kept Stephen Fitzgerald. He's a youth prospect of the club. I want to see if we can make something happen there. Not thinking it's going to happen, but it'd be nice. So that's our club. You notice it looks like a lot. Okay, so let's count the youth prospects we pulled up just for this game. Okay, so you're not going like, goodness me. Really, Keith Dalton is a youth prospect at this point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we got 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. A squad of 24, I think, is okay. It just doesn't look like it right now because I pulled up a bunch of youth prospects. And we spent 97 grand on one player. But that having been said, we're 245 in the hole, but we're within what the board wants. So they can't really complain, right? Like we were at 15,360 when we bought Gavin, the striker. It dropped it to 14,125 a week. Like that's peanuts. And we were at like less than $8,000 because we hadn't signed all the players yet, right? So I was like, okay, sure. And then when we signed the left winger, it went down to 13,534, and now it's gone back up because and this is back because it was zero, because I gave all low payouts for the cup competitions. I felt a little bit about that, like, hey, welcome to Europe, and then we're cutting it all down. But I'm trying to see if one time in the Europa League can get us back into the black. I don't know. Maybe in the comments. I just think there's money to be made in the continental competitions, and so, right, like if we dumped our transfer budget in here, it'd be back up to like 15 or so, something like that. Like we're spending less than they would let us, so they have nothing to be upset about. We did re-sign all of our staff members. They all got pretty much 25 or 50 a week raises because that's what they wanted. I tried to replace the assistant manager at the U19 level, and there is nobody that was interested that was worth anything. So let's take a look at the schedules. Oh, you're sitting there going like, oh my gosh. I don't think we're going to play a game today. I don't think we have time. I think I've rambled on enough. And I probably need to let this just kind of settle in. So we beat Dundalk 4-3. It was 2-1 at the half. 2-1 at the half. And we came back and smashed in 3 goals in the second half. Then we played UCD. This was 4-4-2 direct counter. UCD was 4-2-3-1 gegenpressing. Lots of yellows. And you're going, gegenpressing? Well, let me show you. Just let me show you. Let's do the comparison, okay? I'm just making sure you can see. Yes, okay, you can see this. So there's the garage again. My kids are going in and out. With my wife. They're not going out on their own. Goalkeepers. Again, this is primarily based off of the one we have, but overall, looking pretty good. Defense. Now, this is going to, maybe I should do this after this game. I think that's what we'll do, because this is going to throw the numbers off because of the players that we've pulled up. But even with that, right? Like, we're not the bottom in everything. Like, we actually are good at marking and jumping now. Midfield, stamina, technique, decent decision. We were like, I remember last, it was like all blue down here at the bottom. This is finishing on the attack side. That's because we signed that striker, right? Acceleration. Like, I'm saying there's a chance. Mentals were really bad last season. At one point we had only just leadership. That's actually gone down a little bit. And then technical. So we're looking pretty good. But here's my thinking, okay? So let me just go. I meant to click on tactics. How am I going to show this to you? So if we're in the 4-2-3-1, so we've got Klukas could be a 1, injured. We've got Connor could be a 1, but really our potential star striker is Gavin Wilkinson. So I'm like, okay, we put 1 up top. We really like O'Reilly. We put him behind him. And then on the wings, to be honest with you, I said, let's try gegenpressing because I want to try something different. I don't want to just park the bus. I don't want to just play direct counter 4-4-2. And the control 4-2-3-1 is nice, but like we've got some good players. I want to be a little bit more aggressive if we can. And so on the wings, this is not helping me. Sorry. On the wings, Harvey Gilmore, he's definitely a left winger. So like if we have to just, if the gegenpressing doesn't work out, we can go back to just doing 4-2-3-1 control with wingers because he's got good crossing, dribbling, whatever. If we can get him on the right side to do inside forward, aside from the finishing, he's got pretty good attributes for that too. And he's got good technique and flair, and it's just something a little different. So he doesn't know the inside forward on the other side, but he's got the attributes for it. And I'm like, let's try it. Same thing with McGlade. McGlade actually knows the other side. And so that gives us a little bit of an advantage, and we'll put him on attack because he's got the passing and the dribbling and the off the ball and flair and all that kind of stuff. And so with that, right, you've got those guys essentially switching sides. You've got O'Reilly and you got Gavin up top. You've got 2 really good midfielders in Gavin Holohan and the other guy whose name is Gary, right? And again, they can both play box-to-box. We can do ball-winning midfielder and box-to-box combination. We can do deep-lying playmaker and box-to-box combination. Like, we get really good midfielders there. And then we've got our back line. So I just want to try something different. So this is what our tactics look like. I did clear this all out, which, of course, I forgot wipes out your set pieces. Yay. And again, these aren't the players that would be here. But we do have a 4-4-2 counter because we're playing Dundalk, so I put that in first. Then we got 4-2-3-1 gegenpressing. Again, it looks horrific because these aren't the players we would use. And then we've got 3-4-1-2 control. And if we need to go back to control with the like drop the gegenpressing and go to control, at least we'll already know the formation. But I would really like us to have back here like this going on. It worked last season. We've got really good center backs now. I just want to try it. So let me see how long this has been going. Oh yeah, that's a long enough episode, I think. The board, very secure, happy, not willing to spend any money on any facilities, but definitely willing to spend on players. And the other thing that going back to why I think this is a little broken for some reason is Bohemians is still an affiliated club, and that shouldn't be. We're at the same level that's in the agreement. It should be broken. I'm not going to complain, I guess. Right. And we beat Dundalk in preseason 5-3-2. Yeah. So when we come back, I'm going to show you, because I do want to show you these kids that we have in on the 3-4-1-2 to see if they can make it happen. Walsh, Dalton, Zach O'Neill, not a kid, but coming back. He was injured in preseason pretty much the entire time. So that's what we got going on there. We'll do that. And probably for the sake, we'll see who after. Well, no, they're in second. We'll play Shamrock. We'll do the doubleheader. So let me know, friends. I'm sure there's some of you like, you have just totally screwed up Cabinteely. Maybe. But hopefully you understand why I did what I did. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. If you don't, leave a comment. Don't just like hit the thumbs down and like, I think you're an idiot. Let me know what you think. Constructive criticism is welcome. Hopefully you like it and you're like, let's freaking do it. I mean, we're undefeated, right? We're top of the table right now. Of course, some teams have games in hand and their goal difference will get past it, but we're currently undefeated and we beat Dundalk, okay? So let's do it, my friends. I'm also, where is the Europa? I guess because the Europa League's still happening, right? Like the previous one? Okay, they're in the first knockout round. Okay, got second knockout round. That's 2-18. That's just drawing it. 3-11, 4-15. Okay, so it's going to be like May before we know what's going on there. Okay, my friends, I'm done rambling. Have a good one. Bye.